Hey, solos. So you are a mom who wants to go to Walt Disney World all by yourself, but you're feeling guilty about that. You're feeling stressed about that. You are wondering, like, how could you ever go to Disney without your children? Well, solo spoiler, those are completely valid feelings to feel, but also you should still go. And don't just take my word from it, because I'm not a mom. You are going to take the word, you're going to take the advice from somebody that likes to talk about traveling to Disney with her family all the time, but also loves going by herself. Hey everyone, it's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World, now in its third year. So, for this episode leading up to the Mother's Day weekend, I have brought on a very special guest. I have brought on Jessica, who is from Well Hello Magic. She is a blogger and an overall content creator that really focuses on traveling with children to Walt Disney World. And I met her last year, and it was such a great conversation for us to have. We met, we were doing something in the parks together, and it was so cool to like hear our different perspectives on how we would see the same thing. But from my perspective, of being a solo content creator, I guess, well, I guess she is too, you know what I mean? And her being a content creator focused on family. And so this episode has been almost a year in the making of us coming together to talk about what it's like to go to the park solo as a mom. And I know a lot of you are parents. I know a lot of you listening are moms. And I know that there's a lot of like complicated feelings related to going to Walt Disney World by yourself without your children. And I was so, so happy that Jessica agreed to do this episode for Mother's Day so we could talk about just that. And it really was a fantastic conversation. We talked about so many different elements of motherhood and guilt and politics and the importance of travel and the importance of connecting with yourself. And I just really, really loved it. And even if you're not a parent, even if you're not a mom, I think it is such a great conversation to, I guess, just like remind us how far we can move from ourselves and how we need to find places and spaces to connect with ourselves as much as possible. Anyway, it was a great conversation. I know you're going to love it. So make sure that you follow Jessica on all of her social media. She is way more out there than I am. She also has a blog, all of that stuff. It's Well Hello Magic. Links are below. The links below are also to my social media, so you can go check that out. If you wanted to watch our conversation, you can become a paid Patreon member. The link to that is below. And let's just get right on into it. Oh my gosh. So this is almost a year in the making, this conversation. I am so excited to have Jessica on here to talk about all things solo travel for mothers. Hey, Jessica, thank you so much for making the time for this conversation. It's taken a while for us to get together, but please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I am Jessica. I'm from Well Hello Magic. I do go to Disney solo, and I am a mom of four children, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot.
Okay.
So
I was like,
I will
what are you going to
confirm.
say after that? It is a lot.
Period. I go to Disney by myself and have four kids. It's a lot. That is very much me. I have been creating content now for 4 years. It was accidental, but I am happy to be in the Disney space, and I really do stay in the Disney lifestyle space. So it's parks. Now it's cruises, apparently. And
I love
as
how
my
you're like,
family
apparently, because we did one last week and we will go on another one very soon.
all the kids are like, we can skip the park for about 3 years and only cruise. And I'm like, wow, that was life changing for you guys. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But I also cover like films, Disney history, and that kind of stuff too. So it's really Disney lifestyle in general because I want Disney to infiltrate every piece of your life, apparently.
And for those of you who are watching on Patreon, you can see that Jessica's office is very Disneyfied. And for those of you who aren't watching, you should watch so you can see like all of the different
All of the
pieces
goodness.
that are just so interesting. It's like an I Spy book for
It
Disney.
is.
Yeah. I feel like we should just do a collage of everybody's offices with all their Disney stuff. Like
That
all
would
of
be
my Disney stuff. I mean, there is some in the background of people, but all of it is like this way, like things that
oh
I can see.
yes.
And it's so interesting just like how people organize their space.
I feel like your office feels like a safe space to like have Disney vomit in it. And so my goal is literally the whole thing will be Disney-fied. So one day I will have it completely done and even have like a little chair with Disney pillows in here and everything. Because the rest of my house isn't really Disney. So I'm
Yeah,
like, where can I put everything Disney and like look at it and be so happy?
I love
And
that.
it's like where I work all day.
I
So
love that. Yeah, I feel like with my professional work, my meetings, it's good not to be too Disney in the background. But like I can see the stuff. Like that's a Mary
there you go.
Poppins mug. This is a Haunted Mansion thing. Like these are all the Disney books I've
Oh, I love
gotten
it.
that I've talked to authors about, which is
Yeah.
awesome. There's anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I
Um
love it.
yeah. So you said you had four kids. What are their ages?
So they are now they are 14, 11, 11 because I have twins. And then even after the twins, I decided to have another child and she is 5. So I am just at the age now where I feel like I'm starting to be my normal self again.
Mm,
There's a few years, it was about 5 years where you're just so lost in motherhood. And it's not that I forgot who I was because I was always striving to make more time for myself. It just wasn't realistic. So
right.
I never carried that guilt that I wasn't making time for myself because I knew I would eventually get there as long as I kept that as a goal for myself, which I did. I was like,
Mm.
one day I'm gonna, but like, just be present right now. So now with my youngest being 5 and oldest 14, they're very much Disney kids. They all love Disney. Even everyone's always like the 14-year-old boy likes Disney. Oh, I should probably say that too. It goes boy, boy, girl, twins, girl. And I'm like, yeah, he does because we he does the Disney things that he loves too at Disney. So when we do one-on-one trips, I make sure we're doing the things he likes to do at Disney because everyone's interest isn't the same across the board. So that's why the cruise was perfect because everyone could go off in different directions and have fun doing what they loved. But so it's a fun age because I can finally like do things for myself again. So that's nice.
So you said like you always knew you'd be able to come back to yourself. Like, how did you know that? Because I feel like a lot of moms don't feel that, and a lot of and know that okay, we can come back. Like I'll just say from someone who doesn't have children, like I like lost all my friends for 5 years, and I knew like, oh, we will get back together once they're
Yeah.
all in school and everyone is settled. But like in terms of like coming back to yourself, I don't know if that is something that everybody knows. So how did you know that?
I don't think that majority of moms know. And I
Mm,
don't think that they realize when they are actually like losing themselves to motherhood. So I made a promise to myself when I was younger that I'm always going to live in gratitude. And I think people get gratitude and happiness confused. Gratitude is not happiness. Just because I was living in like gratitude for the moment doesn't mean I was necessarily happy. I mean, with my fourth kid, who you would have thought I would be a pro by the time I had the fourth kid, I ended up having my only C-section and having the most severe postpartum depression I had. And I had twins. Like, so you just, but even in those moments, I was like, this is this period. I'm so grateful that like I had a healthy, happy child. I do not like the way I feel. I do not like the way I look. I don't like my emotions right now because I have zero control, but I'm still happy. Like I'm here, I'm existing. The kid is healthy. You can't, hope for anything better than that. And one day it will be better,
mm-hmm.
but it's just really bad right now. And that is absolutely okay. Doesn't mean I'm not grateful, but I'm not happy. And that's okay. But I'm going to work towards being grateful and happy, and it will eventually come. And I think giving yourself that space to be present enough to be like, everything sucks right now. Everything sucks. That's how you eventually get back to yourself. You just have to give space for the down days.
And when you
Was going to Disney by yourself part of that, or was it something that you did more recently now that your youngest is 5?
So it actually was. So the reason why I started creating content, I should probably give a little bit of backstory. I was a Disney kid, and I know not everyone is fortunate enough to do that. My dad sold insurance, and if you're in the insurance world, you know they do those trips that like you reward trips. Well, Disney, he worked for MetLife. Disney was always one of the reward trips or one of the off-year reward trips that you could take because MetLife had the ride there, and MetLife is part owners of Swan and Dolphin, fun fact, at the time in the 90s. And so I was a Disney kid. So Disney has always been like a happy place for me. So I knew I wanted to start a blog when blogs were big. So like in 2018, I got all the handles and this thing called Instagram was emerging. So I got all the handles, but I was drowning in motherhood at the time. So I said it will always be there for me when I'm ready. So I just left it alone. I didn't know I'd leave it alone for 4 years. So it wasn't until 2022 when I had my last kid, and my last kid was about a year and a half. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start this because I need a little something for me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started it, and obviously it's heavily motherhood focused and was heavily like enjoying the parks because that's my whole thing is if you're planning the trip, you need to enjoy the trip too. You can't just plan for everyone. Well, I got an offer from a brand. I started in February. My first offer by a brand was in April, and my first post went live with them in June. And I was like, huh. I was like, well, this is interesting. And so when you go on trips, I my goal is to be present. And then my husband was like, you know what? You just need to come down here by yourself and just get all the content you need for like your blogs and that kind of stuff. Because I still am very blog focused. And I was like, can I fly by myself? Because at this point, I've been in motherhood so long that the anxiety that was non-existent beforehand with like flying and leaving the kids was all of a sudden there. My partner is phenomenal. I don't give him enough credit, but that's because I don't want to inflate his ego. But but he was like, you gotta go. And I like we'll hold down the fort. We'll be fine. So I planned my first trip by myself so I can just gather these pictures and content, all stuff. And I was terrified and I planned everything to the T. I'm sure my heart rate was 180 flying by myself down there. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And I went down and it was magical. And I was like, okay. Then I got invited on my first brand trip with that brand. And I have not, and that was the brand trip was in 2003 or 2023. So like 6 months after I'd done the first solo one. And at first I said no. I know that sounds so bad because I was scared to leave. And then I was like, I called them back and I go, no, I can come, I can come, I can come. And I made it work and I went down. And so, supportive partner is very important in pushing that. So, it's been amazing since. And now I go all the time solo.
It's funny when I think back to a lot of the parents. Well, actually, I think back to the dads I've interviewed, and they all say too, like their partners are just like, I think this is important for you. Like you should do it. Like you shouldn't worry about your fears. You should go and do it. And
Yeah,
that's so great
yeah,
that that prompted you to do that first trip.
yeah. Yeah, because I don't think I would have. And then, like I said, I even said no to the first brand opportunity who was paying for the trip and went back. But I don't think if it wasn't for that first initial, like, you can do this. So a supportive partner is very important in all of it, honestly. And he is the best and very supportive. And he can listen to this and get his accolades because I don't give too much in person, but it is true. And I don't even have to like plan to leave. Like I just leave
Right,
and
right.
know that he's got the 4 kids and we'll figure out their schedules and stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, that's That's the way it should be.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
so
It should be.
yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna do a whole big rant. We don't need to do that here. We can do that another time. But like, did you feel selfish on those first couple trips, leaving your kids behind, knowing that like they would love what you were doing? And then also, did you feel guilty and like try to bring them into the trip by like calling all the time and FaceTiming all the time? Like, what was that like?
So luckily, so the first one that I did like totally by myself, yes, because they're like, you're going to Disney?
Wait a second. Hmm.
They're like, wait a minute, like without us? And they're like so confused and they're little, because you're talking 4 years ago. So we're at a 14-year-old, 11, 11, and 5 right now. I was leaving a 1 year old, a 1 year old, and 2 6 year olds, like, so they were just like, wait, you're going without us? And I was like, Mommy's going to work though. Mommy's going to work. And so I tried to hide it on like that first little tiny solo weekend. But it's pretty hard to hide it when your partner's like being supportive by showing them your stories on this brand trip. Luckily, it was Universal was the first one, so they didn't know. So he's like, "Look at mommy," and I'm like, "I'm having the best time ever."
Like, what kids?
They don't exist. And I think about like how I felt, and I am one of the moms that feels the least amount of guilt when I go do stuff. So I can't imagine for someone who truly feels that mom guilt. I really try not to feel mom guilt because I do give my kids everything I have. So I call it, I am an intentional mom. So we have 4 kids. That means I'm not going to be able to be at everyone's sports games or everyone's everything because more than likely we're overlapping. So, like, everything I do with them is very intentional. So, it's like after school, when they come home and I'm done with work, I'm intentionally being like, okay, what is going on? What is the homework? What is the food situation? For that period of time that I have them. But then, like, I have to file them away and like go do something else or like if birthdays or if there's class field trips or if there's activities at school, I'm very much involved intentionally so I can be present for them, even though it's like motherhood is the most important thing that I'm doing, but it is not the only part of me. Like
Hmm.
I'm not Jessica. Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a mom. Like, hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a mom, but I'm also these other things. And I think that that's really important. So I can see if you get a brand trip, the enormous weight of mom guilt that will be there. Now, even now that I don't really have that, you will still catch me FaceTiming them during fireworks so that they
Hmm.
can watch the fireworks too at the same time. So they still are pulled into every trip that I take by myself.
Hmm. And how do you feel about that? Like, do
And
you feel like, oh, I'm a mom, so this is what we're gonna do, and maybe have a little bit of like feels towards that, like, oh, I'd like to just enjoy the fireworks on my own, or like this is such an extension of like how I'm experiencing joy, and I really want that with my children as well.
yeah, I do feel like it's more of an extension of joy. And because I also am raising my kids with like a gratitude focus, they also get gratitude in. So our favorite part of Happily Ever After is obviously when Tink flies. Like
Hmm.
that is our favorite part. But it's not our favorite part because of Tink flying. Our favorite part is hearing the crowd and all the people who are experiencing it for the first time. So
Mm.
for my kids, that also brings them joy too. And they'll be like, there's the magic because the magic is in those feelings. And so experiencing that with them anytime that's possible is always going to be important to me. Now, there are some times where, I don't do it every night. Like I will pick, like specifically, like, okay, this is the night I'm going to do it, or this is the night that I'm going to do it with them. And then I'll just go and like sit on the curb by myself and like really enjoy it, or sit in the back of the castle and watch it alone. So I have those moments, but again, it's that whole intentional thing. I will intentionally pick ahead of time when to include them to ensure that I'm also getting that time by myself.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I think it's important to just like say out loud that it's also okay if people have other feels
Yeah.
towards that. But
Yeah.
what I'm hearing from you is that it's part of a larger practice.
Yeah.
And so that larger practice and those routines and those habits of mind and things like that that you are already building into your household as a value, as an ethic,
Yeah.
then um, is part of your trips by yourself. And so I just want to say a couple things to that. One, like number one, I think that's beautiful, obviously. But two, I just want to like flag to people that if that isn't their reality, that one, they can start creating that. And I'm sure you can talk more about that. But two, that like it's also okay to for moms to just like turn it off completely, like the mom start part completely like just shut that off and just be like yourself, capital W woman, when you're there. And that might be the stepping stone to like coming back to yourself to be more than just a mom, but also this multifaceted woman that you were before you
Yeah.
were a mom.
Yes, yes. And that's, I think sometimes because people do get so lost in motherhood, I think that's why people have such a hard time coming out of motherhood when
Mm-hmm.
you're not actively raising kids anymore. You have spent your whole life devoted just to the motherhood portion and forgot to like nurture yourself along the way. Like for me, like when they're all gone, I'm always going to have Disney. I'm always going to have cookies. I'm going to always have all these hobbies and things that I do outside of the kids because they weren't necessarily the catalyst for why I did those things. Those were the interests I had before that I just honed my skill or developed it while I was also raising them because you're essentially raising yourself too into
Right.
adulthood. So, and the best example of what you said, so I had my 40th birthday at Disney, and there were 14 women there, and of the 14 women, 12 were moms, and we had 36 children between us. You
That's a
need to pause
lot. That's
real
a lot
quick.
to process. It's a
Yeah.
lot to process.
Like, I mean, I think in that group alone, four of us had four kids. Like, so, and they came from 9 different states. The furthest state was Alaska. And that it was really interesting to see their reactions while they were on the trip, also balancing motherhood. Now, my other two moms of four, they were like, because they also were Disney people as well, they were like, nope, not calling the kids the whole weekend. Like they just had a time. Now, the ones that weren't as much Disney, I could see them struggling a little bit because they'd never really experienced Disney maybe with their kids yet. So they were experiencing everything at Disney for the first time as just themselves and probably thinking like, oh, I want them to see this, or I want,
Mm-hmm.
granted, an adult and especially a girls trip is very different than a family trip. I mean, we went like on monorail pub crawl. You're not going on pub crawls with your kids. I hate to break it to you. And we did a lot of different things, but you could see them wanting to like call their kids more or FaceTime them to show things versus myself and the other two moms of four who are Disney people. And we were like, not this weekend. We are just Disney, Jessica's this weekend. We are not moms at all. We had so much fun, but I definitely could visibly see the different levels of being able to shut off being a mom on that weekend specifically, being such a big girls trip.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a great anecdote. Thank you so much. I bumped into this woman at a Starbucks or at a Starbucks on Main Street, at the Starbucks on Main Street, and she was like, "Oh, there's no way that I could do this trip by myself." And then her like lanky ass like teenage 16-year-old was like, "Mom, are we going yet?" And I was like, "Oh, I think you would be fine if you went by yourself." And
You
so
can
it
leave
said,
this.
yeah, like he did not need to be there. And like
No.
I think also like there might be an expectation that like you have to call and you have to bring them in. But what I'm hearing from you too is like if you already know the magic, like just be in that magic. But if you haven't experienced it yet, then there is this like pull to be like, ah, maybe the kids might like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
And I mean, and like honestly, now my kids don't even think about me when I'm at Disney,
Right.
they only think of me in the sense of like, if I went right now, they'd be like, you need to get that Figment bubble machine or don't come home. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's where their minds are now. And I do think it's important for moms to leave their kids. One, I come back so recharged, like
Mm-hmm.
after having those weekends, just because one, the sleep is so deep that I have whenever I'm not around them. Because you think even when you get a good night's sleep at home, you just have this visceral response to your kids. So you're never
Yeah.
like fully in deep sleep. And so at Disney, I have this very deep sleep. I'm so relaxed. I'm so excited to come back to them when I get back. Like I don't think about it while I'm there. I'm not like missing them in the sense of like, oh, I wish my kids were here. I miss them, but I'm really not thinking about them when I'm eating that cheeseburger egg roll, you know? But when I'm on my way home, I always feel ready to come home to them and enjoy it, and see them and tell them about the trip or anything new that I saw or something that we're going to do the next time.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's important to leave your kids. Like you need to leave your kids. You need to leave
Mm-hmm.
your kids. You need to have your alone time. You need to meet up with friends. So like I'm finally able because I for 8 years I was literally pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or nursing someone with my body. Like
Mm-hmm.
so 8 years of your life was just my life was just spent literally physically using my body to be a vessel for someone else, whether it was to grow them or keep them alive through nutrients, that it's okay to take a little time for yourself and recharge and then go back a little brighter, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying you have to go to Disney. I mean, you could go to the spa that's like an hour away from your house and leave for a weekend. I know not everyone can afford, although Disney is a lot better single or going with friends because you can split. Like I love going with friends because you're splitting everything. And I'm like, this is great, but I do think that's important and not losing yourself completely to motherhood.
Yeah. And integrating it to like to know that you exist beyond motherhood, although motherhood is a giant, if not the majority part of what you do and what you are and who you are in the world. And I think that not to bring too much politics into this, but there is such an emphasis on a certain type of like motherhood and heterosexual family right now that's very dangerous for women.
Uh,
And to,
uh, More than dangerous.
okay, okay.
Like, I mean, what they are asking women to be is actually not human. And you can't, I wouldn't want a partner who would want me to only be that. No
Mm-hmm.
one everyone asks me, what's going to happen to your kids when you leave? Literally. I mean, I'll tell you this one story. I can't remember. I actually think this was on the trip with maybe with you all. The girls had a dance thing, and I got so many pictures of my husband doing their hair outside a dance because the way our dance works is you prep outside and then you go in for the picture. That way parents aren't in there too, and then you come back out. So he's doing the hair change because different costumes require different hair. And the amount of pictures I got that was like, oh my gosh, your husband is out here doing the bun, doing the braid, all this stuff. And I'm like, he's their father.
Yeah, yeah.
He should, he actually does their hair every day because he does the mornings. I don't do the mornings. So, but it just was, people cannot even like fathom that a
Yeah.
mom would leave. But my husband's on a week-long work trip right now. You think anyone asked how I'm
Anyone taking
surviving, how
pictures
I'm
of
doing?
you being like, oh my God, she's doing breakfast for all four
All the
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
No one asks. No one asks. No one cares. No one even knows that Jared is gone. But the second that I leave, it's like, oh, we saw Jessica's in Disney. Are you okay? Do you
Yeah.
need? He's perfectly fine. He
Yeah.
he actually does all the cooking right now, and but it is so dangerous to sell this narrative that we are just moms.
Hmm.
And that's why I always say, like, motherhood is definitely one of the most important parts of myself, but it's not the only part of myself. Because I don't want people, because then people are like, oh, well, you don't like being a mom. Did I say I didn't like my I had 4 kids. I chose to continue having children after having twins. So clearly I love being a mom, and it is one of my favorite things. And even on this cruise the last week, I got the most beautiful compliment I think I've ever had in my life. We are on the tram leaving Lookout Cay, and the kids are just like, they just had the best day, like on this beach, you know? And so my littlest is like, I'm proud of myself for going down that water slide. And I'm like, yeah, me too, because I did not think that you would go down. And then my oldest said something to me. And so we're like talking and we're just riding this train back. And we get off to offload. And a woman taps me on the shoulder. And she could not, she was maybe mid 20s, maybe late 20s. And she goes, I just want you to know that you were meant to be a mom. She's like, I watch obviously a lot of people. I know I'm gonna cry because it was like the sweetest thing. And she's like, you were meant for this. Like, you're great. So, like, whatever you're doing, like, you just need to keep doing it. And I'm like, well, thank you. But that's because I choose to be intentional in those moments so that I can be Jessica in other moments.
Hmm.
And I just
Hmm.
was like, I really needed that right now. So thank you. Thank you, you know. And I feel like so many moms don't feel like they have that choice to turn off motherhood a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because they might not be able to have that choice because they have partners that aren't great.
Yes. Yes.
Or they don't have a good community around them.
I, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I do. I'm from Texas originally, and the community there is different than my East Coast community in Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
So you're right.
Yeah. Like I was raised by a single mom, and she always has these stories of like bringing me to business meetings when I was an infant and all this stuff. And like we lived by or with my grandparents for a lot of that, and
Yeah.
having that. And then I also think like right now I'm an auntie and a godmother, which is so wonderful. But like I think about all of the like women, my mom's friends, and part of that community when I was a little girl, and like how they're embedded in my brain. And that is all these fullness of ways to be a woman and ways to be and develop community to raise children. And it's really wonderful. And like the more of yourself you are as a mom, the more you're able to connect with these larger and larger communities of people and women who can support your children being raised.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, um, my dad told me that the most important choice that I would ever make as a parent is where we choose to live in terms of the community. And he
Mm,
was like, he goes, you may want to live in like some nice, like ridiculous, looking area, but if there are not kids running around and people around and everyone's inside, you don't want to do that. And he was like, because the community is going to raise your children. So the goal is if you can find like a decent school system and you see people outside and you see people talking, he's like, you want to go there because you have a better chance of building a community there because the community is going to raise your kids.
mm-hmm.
And so that's like what we looked for when we were moving to the house where we are now, where we believe we're raising our kids. And I mean, we won't leave because of now the community,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they are such an integral part. And we're having to explain the whole like well, they're not your real aunt, but we call them aunt because
Yeah.
when when you get that close that your kids are calling these people aunt and uncle,
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing to have a community, and it's maybe it is the most important thing in motherhood, as
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
be honest, is to have a community because you need to be able to not just reach out to people in like hard times or when you need help. It's when you don't need help, and it's the laughs in between, and it's
Yeah.
the friends that can tell something is up, but they're gonna let it slide in the public setting, and then they pull you around later and they're like, "What's going on? You're off,"
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, so after you saying that, the most important part, honestly, to me is having a community.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, connecting with politics again, I feel like in America in particular, like I'm in Canada, I think that they're like, the powers that be are really trying to keep people really separated from community and really adversarial to each other. And something that I hear a lot in some research that I'm doing related to Disney is that there is not necessarily a sense of community at Disney, but there is a sense of like communal safety. And I think that moms, parents, just people on their own going to Disney by themselves, feeling that
Yeah.
that can be possible, that you can be in a space that is safe and communal, can help bring some of that magic and that sense of community back to where you are to strengthen the communities that you have around you.
I 100% agree. And Disney, there isn't a place on earth I think I feel safer than going alone than Disney,
Yeah.
especially as a mom. Like, I feel so safe going there by myself, you know. And, now that I feel like the good fortune of actually like starting to build a Disney community, like I can go down there and actually like people can meet up with me at the parks or at restaurants. And like that's even like amazing because talk about recharging yourself and feeling like yourself again. That is a piece of it. Recently, I just helped a friend here and she was like, my kids don't know, but I'm going to Disney with a bunch they call themselves the accountant widows because during accounting
Yeah.
season, their partners, it's crazy. So they actually are going this weekend. And she was like, I haven't told my kids. I feel so guilty. And I'm like, drop the guilt. You've been riding the last 4 months until tax day, solo, basically. I was like, go to Disney, have fun. They're just going to Epcot. They're doing, around the world. They have their lightning lanes. And I was like, just be present. The kids are all right. You're fine. And
Yeah.
there's like six of them, six women going down. It's great.
Sounds amazing. I
It
should just
is.
say about guilt that like guilt's going to ruin your trip. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to speak too much on mom guilt, but like you want to carry like you have your lounge fly on and you want to carry another backpack of
Oh,
guilt, like
please
drop that shit.
stop the guilt
Drop
because I'm
it.
telling you, when you come back, you're so much brighter and the kids feel that energy. So it's
Yes.
like soak up the sun when you're down there and get that recharge that Disney is giving you going alone, like it is like you got to drop the mom guilt. And the way you drop it is just to drop it.
Hmm.
Because people are like, I just don't know. You just start doing things you like. And then all of a
Right,
sudden,
because the kids aren't there for you to know that you're putting that energy into them. It's not like it's not like you're like depositing that energy of guilt. And so they're like,
yes,
oh, well, now they'll be okay, right? Like,
yes,
no, that's not what's happening here.
yes, 100%. That's the best way to put it. They literally have no clue.
No, they
They
have
have
no
no,
clue whether you're there and you're having a great time and not thinking about them because it's your vacation and that's okay, or you're sitting there being like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything because they're not here.
exactly. I'm
For those of
like,
you who aren't watching, Jessica just rolled her eyes very
I
hard.
I
I
did
actually,
because I'm like,
she looked like
I
disgust
cannot.
from inside out.
Yeah. I'm like, do not bring that energy around me and bring down this trip. Like, keep that. Don't come. Don't
Yeah,
come. You
yeah.
know.
But I
But
mean, I want to also give like space for people who feel compelled to do that because you might be in practice, like you might think that's how to be a good mom. And I just want to offer that Disney is such a safe place to be that you can practice letting that go, right? Like you might need a lot of practice. You might need to be active and purposeful in letting that go. And Disney's a good place to do that.
it is a great place to practice it. It really is. It's a great place to practice it. You can ship gifts home, which is also really nice as a mom because you always want to get them something and you don't have to worry about trying to fit it at home. Disney resorts will ship that stuff home to your kids and then it's like a double surprise. So it's like they get their mom back one day and 3 days later a package arrives with gifts. So put your mom guilt into the dollars you're going to spend and then deposit it in that shipping box
Okay, no, so I disagree with that. I always say, like, unless someone knows how special a Walt Disney World gift is, then just
True.
get it from Amazon or Walmart or Target, and then you take those guilt dollars and you spend them on yourself.
You go tell yourself. You go do that ridiculous massage at Grand Floridian that's twice as much. Sometimes I go
Yes,
that fall and I'm like, you know what? This is purely for me because I wanted to put the aura stone on
that
how I feel.
stone. Although, okay, so I have a very tense body. We'll just say that. And I got a massage there twice. And the first time the woman, it was such a great massage, but she touched a part of my shoulder that has a lot of stuff. And I like shot up and she goes, holy there's a lot of swearing in this Mother's Day episode. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay. It's okay. And then the next time I go,
He
and I
was
was like,
releasing. It was
I
more of
was
a
like,
release. It
hi,
was
do
a
you
release.
remember me? And she's like, yes. I'm like, I love that massage. Just like, don't press there. And she's
Yeah,
like, okay.
that is so wild.
Yeah.
It's like, you
It
know
was so
what?
funny because everything was so calm and professional. I just scared her out to death.
I, it happens. You
It
know, like
happens.
it happens. It happens. It
And I
happens.
still had
And
my
she
little
will
blue
never forget
stone I
you.
got to put in the thing. Pardon?
And she'll never forget you
She
either.
will never. um, Okay, so one as we're winding down, I want to ask a couple more questions. One is when you're there by yourself, is it hard to turn off the thinking, like the radar, the mom radar? Because when you and I met for the first time last year, what was really cool is we were talking, like there's a group of us, and we were talking about a hotel, and you started listing all these things about the hotel that you would tell moms on your blog.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting to me because I'm like, wow, I never would have thought that, any of those things. And it was such an interesting way for me just to kind of see the difference in people approaching trips, right? When you
Yeah.
are doing it solo, like myself, or related to families and being a mom like yourself. And so, is it hard to turn off that radar of like, oh, well, that's a good place to eat for this kid because blah, 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 you know?
I would say, especially because I'm a Disney content creator, that radar is never off.
Yeah.
It is always breaking. I'm also a Virgo.
I know
So,
you're a Virgo. We've talked about that.
yes.
I sent you a
So,
message and I was like, happy Virgo eldest daughter
yes,
birthday.
yes. So, you know, I just, not that I'm a perfectionist, I just always, with the mom brain, I'm always thinking like, okay, this actually, these are the reasons why this would be a good place. This would not. So I can use that to help someone later. So my Disney file of like what is useful or what is helpful, it's always on. And I don't know if it would be on for other people as much as it is for me, but I also am obsessed with minimal stress. Like I I will be like, okay, this is realistically the little pot of stuff that you need, or this is why you need to stay at this hotel to reduce your stress so that you have less stuff. Because it's easy to bring everything that you need, but it's like, what is going to reduce the amount of stress? So that's my other thing is I want you're always going to have stress when you have children. So my mom brain is always thinking, how is this going to reduce stress for someone else? How does this reduce stress for me, especially when I'm at Disney?
Hmm, hmm.
So, and that is just the functioning now of my my motherhood brain.
I know I'm not a mother, but I always constantly thinking that for every
Yes,
member of my family
yes.
too.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's when you're the planner, honestly, of
yeah.
the trip, which you're the go-to Disney person for your family.
Hmm.
So you constantly are like, this is too stressful. Let's reduce this. Because Disney is so much fun when you don't put expectations that I feel like the world is putting on you to have at Disney.
100%. 100%. Like when the tighter your schedule it is, the more things that you want to do, the less magic it is. I mean,
Yeah.
something I talk about in the podcast is that online social media, Disney social media will be like, oh, all of this is going to happen for Mother's Day or
Yeah.
this day or that day. And they show you all this stuff. And then I'll go for um, Asian Heritage Month or I'll go for Mother's Day or I'll go for Easter. And I'm like, well, where's all the stuff that you talked about? Oh, it's
Exactly.
this one snack at this one hotel. So if I went another time, it would have been the same. And it's like plan for yourself and just like be
Yeah.
open to all of the magic and the surprises because that's what Disney is.
That's where everything lives. I always am like, you got to leave room for magic because it's those are the moments that actually have fun. But if you're rushing to, you actually have fun. If you're rushing to the next ride or rushing to the next scheduled thing, you miss it. You're gonna
Yeah,
miss the opportunity where Donald grabs your kid's hand and
right.
walks down, Hollywood Boulevard. You're gonna miss those opportunities because you were so focused on having a schedule that no one is having fun with. No
Yeah,
one is having fun with a rigid schedule at Disney.
yeah,
You know? So, and especially the younger they are, I always say you don't have plans when they're really young. You have general ideas. Like, do not come in there with young kids and make a schedule because
yeah,
you will hate it. You will
yeah.
hate every second.
Just a couple things. Just like, I'm gonna do these two
Yes.
things, and
Yes.
everything else is a bonus.
Everything else is a bonus. So,
There was one other thing I wanted to say relate to that. Oh, yes. I wanted to also invite listeners that if your trips are like normally very not planned because you have toddlers, or they're very, very planned because like that's how you feel like you could manage your trip, that when you're doing solo trips, just try the opposite too.
yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
might be like, oh, we're so free because all we have are toddlers that I just want a really packed schedule. Then like do that.
Do it. Do it.
Right? If all of the times that you have created these packed schedules because you're dealing with like 14 people and the in-laws and this and that, then like don't have a schedule, right? Like try doing it the opposite. Like feel like when you are doing a Disney trip by yourself, especially when you're a mom or a parent generally, to just try to do it differently than normal and see how that feels. And like maybe you'll be introduced to like a new
I
part
mean,
of yourself.
that is a great suggestion. Yes. Like just 100% do it. The only time I've ever done like a 4 park challenge has been solo.
Yeah. Oh my God, I
Because
could not actually doing that with 4 children under the age of 14 sounds like
how
a nightmare.
how
So,
horrible would that be if
yeah,
that is what happened?
yeah,
So yeah, so that's but it was so fun. It was so fun like running to each of the parks, getting the snack, getting on the ride. Like I loved it. But I would never do that with kids because
no.
I'm like it doesn't sound fun for anyone and then I'll just start yelling. So yes, it's a perfect time to do the things that you dream about but never can do.
Yeah. And to just be open to like new possibilities of yourself because you had said like, oh, there's going to be 5 years where I'm just going to have to put myself on hold. And who you were when you were 20 versus 25, right? Like, which is a 5 year thing, or
Yeah.
15 versus 20 when it's a 5 year thing. Those are different people. And so, like, be
Totally
open to
different.
like getting to know yourself at this incarnation of your life.
And it's so fun too, like experiencing like foods and drinks and different things that I know I would not experience with my kids there.
Hmm.
And so for me, that's been like one of the really fun things that I've gotten to discover is like eating at these different places or waiting the 40 minutes in a food booth line that we would have definitely skipped
Yeah.
if the kids were there, because they aren't there. So I can take it slower and try all these things. And so Disney just provides so much opportunity to do so many things as like a solo traveler
Yeah.
that I mean the possibilities are endless. And again, just like with my family, no trip has been the same when I've gone solo. They've
Yeah.
all been very different going solo, which I
And
love.
I think too, like for foods, like eating an ice cream that you don't have to share.
That someone hasn't licked
Right.
already.
That's right.
Like just having your own or
Yeah.
having your food extremely hot. I can't remember where I was, and I took a bite of something and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really hot." And they were like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "It always comes out hot." And I'm like, "Oh, well, by the time that I've
Yeah.
gone
Yeah.
around the table, it's usually not this hot."
Yeah.
So,
This
so
has been such a fantastic conversation, Jessica. Is there one final tip that you want to share with mothers going into this Mother's Day weekend for a solo trip when you're a mom?
The hardest part, honestly, is going to be getting on that plane or starting the car when you're leaving. And you're going to tell yourself it would be easier if I just didn't go. You will. You will. There are times now where I even am like, is this really the weekend that I should be going?
Mm,
And just go. Just go. Because once you get there, you're like, I'm so glad I did this. But it's the initial leaving, whether for you, if it's mom guilt, or you feel like there's just too much stuff left behind, or you feel like you're disorganized in leaving. And so you're leaving like your family in a bad place, just go. Like everyone really will be fine. Like they will. So get on the plane, get in the car, and just start driving, or, go to the airport. Once you get to Disney, you'll realize, yes, you are still important. They still need their mother, but it's not detrimental to their survival. Like they
yeah.
will be okay. They may eat fast food all weekend. They may not have a cooked meal. They may not have brushed hair. I hope you have a partner that will do all those things, but just go. And then
Yeah.
you won't regret it. You really won't.
And I also want to say that as someone that doesn't have children, I often and go to Disney a lot. I often get those anxiety things like maybe I shouldn't go. I'll start a big project like, oh, let me grab this one thing from my closet, and then I'm like, you know what? I should probably redo all four of my clothes closets right now. And I think that might just be an element of anxiety of traveling as well. So I also
Yeah.
want to just kind of offer that
Yeah.
that might not be a mom thing. That might just be like a human stress thing for traveling. And so don't equate it with you being a terrible mother.
Being like, I'm a horrible mom. No,
Right,
no.
because like I am not a mom,
Yeah.
and
You
I
still feel
look at
it.
my apartment an hour before I'm supposed to leave, being like, "What did I do?"
Why am I leaving this right now? Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Like that is so don't equate things that really
yeah,
that are
that's right.
basic.
That's right.
You really just have to say yes. Like just say yes. Just say yes.
Just say yes.
Let's go. Just say
Yeah.
yes. And you will feel so recharged. You will sleep in a bed without another human, which will be amazing. Like
Surprise.
you will love it. And Disney, again, if safety and security is ever a concern, Disney specifically is truly one of the safest places I ever feel. Even walking back late at night after a park night, I
Yeah.
feel so safe
Yeah.
going, anywhere there. So if you're gonna start there. Start
Yeah.
with the magic.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. This was just fantastic. Thank you so much. How can people follow your blog, follow your Instagram, follow all the social media, and
So
learn
I
more
am
about your intentional, gratitude-focused parenthood journey?
so Well Hello Magic is everywhere. So that is going to be my hand on Instagram. The blog is www.wellhellomagic.com. My podcast, everything is Well Hello Magic. So just Google Well Hello Magic and you'll find everything there. I'm the most present on Instagram because I do stories there a lot. So if you want to like see day-to-day motherhood, especially, you can go there and find me there. But this was wonderful having me on. I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much. And there is a link to at least your Instagram below. We'll see how many other social media links I get between now
And
and
there's
then. But that's
34
fine.
now.
Just Google it. But this was fantastic, and I hope to see you in the parks soonish.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. On another solo trip, I will definitely see you. We'll make it
Okay,
happen.
good. Good, good. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hey solos, it's Samantha. As we move into our third year of the podcast, please continue to support the podcast by liking, reviewing, subscribing on any and all of the platforms that this streams: Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. Becoming a Patreon member is also an option and also just a wonderful way to support me and the podcast. Much appreciated to all the members, both free and paid. I can't wait to continue making content for you as we move into our third year.